right, what's up everybody? I'm gonna go ahead and get started here in a moment. But as always, if you can hear us and if we are streaming in 1080p, just go ahead and give a thumbs up in the chat. We'll get started. Apologies for being late, but it's been one of those busy Mondays. Thank you all for joining, and we'll get started here in a moment. Monday, everybody. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Good evening and welcome back to Walks in Wall Street. I think today is Monday, July 8th, 2024. We're reporting live from 5th Avenue, overlooking the beautiful Plaza Hotel, as well as the Steinway Tower in the back. It's going to be a pretty busy week, but the busyness is not really going to start until Thursday and Friday. If you tuned in last night, we were talking about all of the major events coming up during this week on Wall Street. Thursday and Friday are going to be the two major days. This is really the first week without any sort of holiday interruption. I would say the main first week of Q3. Q1 is behind us, Q2 is behind us. The first half of the year is gone. Now we have to look forward to the second half. So this week is all about inflation. It's inflation, inflation, more inflation. We're gonna get the CPI number on Thursday right at 8:30 a.m. Then we're gonna get the PPI on Friday. And markets are pretty muted today in terms of the equity market. I think we have entered the summer doldrums officially. and all eyes are going to be on the one and only inflation print. Quick announcement. Obviously, Thursday was the 4th of July. We usually send out our free investing newsletter on Thursday, but we sent it out on Friday. So if you want to take a look at your email box, just to confirm that you got it, as we're looking at 432 Park Avenue, I think you guys are going to like this issue. We talked about a lot, potential sector rotation. And last night we had a pretty good conversation about specific commodities prices and precious metals, rare earths. There was a good article in the Wall Street Journal over the weekend talking about lithium and how lithium is down about 80%. How does that relate to EV manufacturers, particularly Tesla and the like? Well, it could potentially be a bull thesis, because instead of spending $86,000 a ton to purchase lithium, now they're paying $12,500 a ton. Talked about much, much more. So we're gonna keep it kind of chill tonight because it is late. It was a busy, crazy day at the office. So without further ado, let's see who we have in the chat. We'll get started. Blonde Cookie is here. What's up? I see Austin City Limits. Dan Sang. What's going on? Professor Dario, thank you for joining us. Jimmy's Cam, Doc7, trust you're well. Steph UF, I see DM, the one and only Solo 401 as always. What's going on? The backyard of 2021 is here. Mark Summers, this is Happy Monday. Briner says hello, Tom. Tofu Shoots is here. This is hello from Melbourne. Wow, Australia, very cool. Now, we're looking over Grand Army Plaza. Grand Army Plaza is this little park that sits right outside the Plaza Hotel, and it's going to be under construction, I think, for the next year. They're going to build a new and improved Grand Army Plaza. It's going to look fantastic. It's going to look really, really good. So excited about that. You have Plaza to your right. And here we have the one and only Sherry Netherland Hotel. Alan, what's going on? New England Crypto. Now, I wanted to take you guys over the Brooklyn Bridge tonight. I don't think we're gonna have enough time to do that. You know what we'll do? Let's go ahead and venture a little bit into the Upper East Side. Now, the internet's not really good on the Upper East Side, but let's give it a try. Let's explore some of the new development that's going on up there. We'll see a lot of the retail, and you'll notice something. Since the last time we've done a live stream on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, a lot of the retail has come back. I think a lot of businesses are taking advantage of these fire sale prices, getting pretty good leases, so retail's actually making a pretty big comeback in Manhattan and doing pretty good. Jafet Perez is here. What's up? Sunshine after rain. Good to see everybody. We'll have to postpone our Brooklyn Bridge excursion till tomorrow. Professor Dario says, is the Frick collection done? It is not. Now, that's one of my favorite museums of all time, the Henry Clay Frick collection. Lots of American history, the Industrial Revolution, Henry Clay Frick, J.P. Morgan, and the like. Morgan Library is also fantastic, but if you haven't been, the physical house, which sits right on 5th Avenue, overlooking Central Park, is currently undergoing renovations. Now, once that's complete, they're going to move all of the exhibits and the artifacts back into the house. The collection is quite impressive to see, but I think what's more impressive than the actual collection is the architecture of that massive mansion that sits right on Fifth Avenue. It just kind of gives off the impression of just how wealthy those individuals were during the Industrial Revolution, to be able to have what's pretty much a massive estate right on Fifth Avenue, overlooking Central Park. But it's beautiful on the inside. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, I would just Google Henry Clay Frick collection, and it should have some photos of the home. Now, when you go there, you're actually not allowed to take photographs inside the museum for whatever reason. So I'm not too sure how many there are going to be online, but this is a pretty cool view of 432 Park Avenue. But also this one right here, everyone, that is the Four Seasons Hotel on Billionaires Row that's set to reopen this summer, which is pretty exciting. The Four Seasons on Billionaires Row has been closed since COVID. So to see that making a comeback is pretty cool. Javette Perez says the humidity in Manhattan is high tonight. The humidity is insane. Really, really insane, but I'm not complaining. I do like it hot and humid. And I'll say this, I was in Miami last week, and it feels hotter and it feels more humid right now in New York City than it does, or I should say than it did in Miami. And I just think that's because, you know, when you're in Miami, you're up and down Collins Avenue, you're right on the ocean, you get the breeze. But in Manhattan, it's a concrete jungle, so it feels like you're baking, which you pretty much are. So this is Madison Avenue, everybody. We are headed towards the Upper East Side of Manhattan. But you know what I want to do? Let's actually check out the progress of the new opening of the Four Seasons, and we'll see what it's looking like. Yeah, Sabrina Fair says 82% humidity right now in Manhattan. It sure seems like it. Definitely sure seems like it. Daytona Gal, what's up? Lance is here. Good to see everybody. Dave S. says, hi Tom, I saw a video about Texas wanting to offer. Oh, you're talking about the new stock exchange that they're proposing? Yeah, that is apparently in the works. It's going to be a deal with Ken Griffin Citadel. It should be interesting to see. Should be interesting to see what's going to come about of that. Now, speaking of Texas, everybody, Houston right now is getting hit with a pretty big hurricane. Is that right? So hopefully everyone is staying safe in Houston. I was seeing some back and forth on Twitter. Hurricane Barrel, I believe it's called. This is Park Avenue. Now, speaking of Citadel, as we make this right on East 59th Street in Park, you're going to see one of the newest state-of-the-art office towers in New York City. 425 Park Avenue, right here. This is the temporary headquarters of Citadel Securities. And as you continue to walk down, you're going to see the construction site of the brand new Citadel Securities Tower. It's going to be called 350 Park Avenue, which is pretty cool. Frank, what's up? Western Mass Dave, good to see you. Hey, Dinesh. Thanks for watching. Dinesh says he feels a little bit drained due to his university studies. I've been there, man. Definitely been there. The only thing I could say is just push through it, just power through. Because when you're older and you look back on it, you're gonna be like, ah, that really wasn't so bad. But I hated school. I hated it. But you gotta get it done. You gotta get the jobs done. All right, so this is now, we're right next to Tao. I wanted to quickly make a pit stop here. Again, this is the Four Seasons that was closed down, but it is going to be reopening. So let's do some investigative work here. Ah, you can kind of hear the jazz music. Love that. Let me know if you guys can hear the jazz on the stream. Four Seasons Hotel. And it looks like they're doing some remodel work in here. You know, if you think about it, I mean, what a waste, right? To have this be completely empty since COVID. Building energy efficiency rating is an F. Oh, marron. Well, this is the front entrance. Well, technically the back entrance, but it's on the northernmost side. Let's walk around to the front and we'll see if we can see anything going on, because if you remember correctly, all of this used to be blacked out like this. Maybe we could try to get you up a little bit higher. Anything exciting in there? Let's go walk around. So you have the Four Seasons here, and last night, if you joined our live stream last night, we walked past the Four Seasons downtown by the World Trade Center. Wow, Brad's brains is 2.1 million people without power right now. Oof. Man. How are you holding up, Brad? I'm assuming since you're watching this broadcast, you have power? Dinesh, very good. This place is very, very cool. If you guys are interested, scan the QR code. You can see some of the cool stuff at the auction house. It's a scan to view our upcoming auctions. You could browse the different galleries. Pretty rare coins. Look at that, it says please remove any face masks, hats, hoodies, and sunglasses before entering. What a 180, right? I remember trying to go get a cup of coffee and people, you know, having a panic attack. Put on your mask, put the mask on. And now it's the exact opposite. It's like, if you see someone with the mask on in New York City, they either are, well, maybe I won't go that far, but in my experience, if you see someone with the COVID mask on in New York City now, they're a criminal, like 100%. I don't see anybody wearing these COVID masks other than criminals now. It's gotten so bad, and I guess I could say that I have cover to say it, because the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, is proposing a law to ban the masks because people are using essentially COVID as a cover to do crime. It's crazy. Anyway. All right, 432 Park Avenue here. Beautiful, beautiful building. And let's check out the very front of Four Seasons now. Maybe they'll have all the blockage down where we can actually see into the building. Now this is a cool view from across the street, because usually we walk straight down here, but look at the Richard Mille store from across the street. You can see this big clock face of Richard Mille. Pretty cool. That elevator music too. Very cool. Let's take a stop by and look at Bloomberg. Bloomberg Global Headquarters is on the east side. Looks like we have the light. You're gonna get a really cool view looking all the way down towards Grand Central. What do you guys think of this matching luggage? Now, I don't really have any piece of luggage, to be honest. I just have my briefcase. Because whenever I travel, I only really travel two places, New York and Miami. And the beauty of it is I have all of my stuff in New York, and I have the other half of my stuff in Miami. So I never have to bring anything. I just walk on the plane. It's quite convenient. This is pretty cool down here. I feel as if I just never want to check my luggage ever. I'm almost like petrified to do it. And then, you know what? It allows you, when you're boarding the plane, you can board at the very, very last second. So you don't have to fight people to put your stuff in the overhead bin because you just walk on the plane. Now, this building, I think, may be going into foreclosure, unfortunately. This big office tower right here. 135 East 57th Street. You could check it out, maybe Google it. I think there's a Real Deal article about it. It's another one of these office buildings that's in distress. Patrick D says unless you have golf clubs. I've never flown with golf clubs. Alright everyone, let's go ahead and bang this left on Lexington Avenue. And here we are at Bloomberg's headquarters. Building is quite nice. Now if you look closely, you can see all the Bloomberg terminals, but on the easternmost side of the building, that's where they have the Bloomberg studios. So chances are, if you ever turned on Bloomberg television network, this is where the production is filmed. Hey, Chuck Rumsford, what's going on? Yeah, you're right. This part of town is quite nice during the holidays. You have Bloomingdale's, which puts on a pretty nice holiday display. You can see all the lobbies dressed up. Ed Dunkel says, how much does a Bloomberg terminal cost? I think it's $2,560 a month, to be exact, for one subscription. You don't really need a Bloomberg terminal unless like you're a bond trader or something like that, and you're doing like, or you're an institutional shop. I think a terminal is convenient though if you're doing like heavy analysis on a company and you don't have to sift through a lot of the SEC filings. You can just punch in a ticker and it'll give you all the EPS estimates, revenue estimates, and you can kind of plug and play into your models, but you really don't need it. The Bloomberg terminal for me is more like something that, it's like a hobby. Looking around on the terminal, it's a cool thing to have, but you don't need to give Michael Bloomberg $30,000 a year. I do like his global headquarters though. Such a futuristic looking building, almost looks like a spaceship. Isn't it a cool looking building? And it has really, really high security too. These little things go up and down. I have a few friends that work at Bloomberg. They say that sometimes the former mayor, CEO and founder of Bloomberg, Michael Bloomberg, sometimes he comes in, but he really manages his philanthropy now. Traffic is backed up from the 59th Street Bridge. We're now on 3rd Avenue. You know, for a Monday night, it's almost, what, 11 o'clock at night? There's a lot of traffic. This is everyone waiting to get on the 59th Street Bridge. Now this building right here is the Lipstick Building. That's where Bernie Madoff ran his Ponzi scheme. Now the building that I'm about to show you is 200 East 59th Street. It's actually quite nice, and when I show you the building, it's a new development. You're gonna think that you're looking at something in Miami, like right on Collins Avenue, but no, this is on the east side of Manhattan. 200 East 59th Street. This beautiful white facade with these wraparound balconies. It definitely doesn't even look like it should be in New York City, but it is, and I think it's quite nice. And you have views of Central Park. Oh, here it is. This is the Hampton Jitney. I was just talking about this the other night. Anyone here has ever taken the Hampton Jitney? They used to pick you up right outside Lincoln Center. This is half a century of riding the wave. I love that. Ride the wave. Since 1974, Hampton Jitney. Wow, this is Bloomingdale's. Let's head over to the 59th Street Bridge, check it out. Bumper to bumper traffic here in Manhattan. Did that guy just throw that out the window? I didn't see it. I don't know if he did or not. If I saw it, I'd throw it right back at him, but he gets a pass. So I don't know if he threw it out the window or not. Maybe he was kicked by those people crossing the street. I didn't see it. So he gets a pass. If I saw it, I'd beam it right back at his face. All right, so maybe we'll go through Sutton Place tonight. I don't know if we have... Ooh, the chat's saying he did do it. I didn't see it personally. I just saw it hit the ground, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But man, what just a bottom of the barrel person to do something like that. Do people still buy beds shaped like a circle anymore? I feel like this kind of went out in the 80s. I don't know how I feel about that design. What do you guys think? Circular beds, I don't know. It's not, I feel like it's very dated. Maybe they're trying to bring it back, but it feels very, very dated. Mad Mapper. Now, I really do like Murphy beds, particularly the really, really nice Murphy beds. Because a lot of times I'll walk in these studio apartments or one-bedroom apartments in Manhattan, and they have these king-size beds, and it takes up the whole space. Why not just get a Murphy bed that's a king size, and then it really, really opens up the space. You could entertain, you can make it an office, and then just pull out the bed when you're ready to go to sleep. Well, here we are, everybody. This is the 59th Street Bridge. And you have bumper-to-bumper traffic on and off. You can see everyone trying to come off the bridge too. Yeah, Western Mass Davis is manic traffic tonight. Really is. I'm actually pretty surprised. This is some pretty good New York City white noise for everybody. So we're now right under the Roosevelt Island tramway here. Wait for the light. Now, could you imagine those apartments all the way up there? I just don't know if I'd want to live that close to this major intersection here. You're gonna have traffic all the time. It just feels a little bit too hectic. Even if you're living high up in one of these condos, it just feels way, way too hectic here. We'll see how far we can go up before the internet starts to go a little bit crazy. But I feel as if we haven't explored the Upper East Side in a long time, so we might as well do that tonight. Hey, the Papa Smurf OG, what's up? Yeah, the Upper East Side's pretty busy tonight. Now, down a lot of the side streets are these beautiful townhomes. As we get into the 70s, you're going to see more townhouses. As we walk up 2nd Avenue. Now on East 69th Street, maybe if the internet is okay, I'll take you guys into this condo garage. So right on East 69th Street, if you want to look up the address, it's 301 East 69th Street. It's the Mayfair condominium complex, or excuse me, the Mayfair co-op. And before the pandemic, there was a small private equity firm who's in the business of parking spaces, running valet, condominiumizing, called Center Park. They acquired the entire parking garage from the Mayfair Co-op. They bought the entire thing. Now, what was interesting is the garage right now is about a quarter of the size of the original purchase. And the reason for that is because it's right on 2nd Avenue, and the city came in and they're like, hey, in order for us to complete this subway station right on 2nd Avenue and 69th Street, we're gonna need to drill a little bit further underground. And in order to do that, if they drilled any further, well, it would drill right through the parking garage. So the city did a forced acquisition of about 75% of the garage via eminent domain to build the 2nd Avenue subway. So it's in to East 69th Street. And if the internet holds up, maybe I'll take you down and you can see behind the big concrete wall, that's the subway. So the trains are going crazy back there. This is very rare that this happens, but eminent domain sales do happen. I don't know if I'd ever want to live up here, to be honest. After seeing this at night. Let's see what time it is. Has to be almost 11 o'clock at night. Yeah, 10:55. So for all these people who live in these co-ops or condos, most of them are probably cooperatives. 11 o'clock at night on a Monday, and this is the traffic, everyone clanging and banging and honking the horns. It just doesn't feel like that neighborhood feel for me. I don't know. I would say I love the Upper West Side way more than the Upper East. That's just me. The Upper East Side feels a little bit too polished. Everyone feels a little bit stiff up here, and it's pretty crowded. And it kind of feels crazy, as Shell is saying. Now, granted, this is 2nd. If we turn right or left, those kind of side streets are a little bit quieter, but you can see one of the doormen headed out of a 7-Eleven. Now, some of the parking garages up here in the neighborhood for you to rent your space, which to people who are not from Manhattan, you would say, oh, $1,300 to park your car? That's how much my rent is. Depending on the vehicle you have, if you have an exotic luxury car, top of the line Mercedes, Aston Martin, it's a wide body, they're probably gonna charge you that much to park. Probably charge like $1,000 a month. East 66th Street. Wow, look at all this scaffolding. I don't really remember this much scaffolding being up here. But how is the internet so far, everyone? Usually the internet is terrible, terrible, terrible on the Upper East Side. But what do you guys think? Is Is it okay? Is it good? Is it bad? Okay, East 67th Street. We're heading up towards Hunter College. Hey, NBA Elias, good to see you. Trust you're well. We've been having a lot of conversations over the past few weeks about Tesla, as well as Amazon and Netflix. It seems as if the market is showing favor to those three stocks again after underperformance. Here's some of the quieter blocks. You can see some of those Upper East Side townhomes. I don't think Kathy Hochul left. Someone says, who's the new governor? I think it's still Kathy Hochul. Okay, friends, we've made it. So if you look to your right, this is the brand new 2nd Avenue subway. East 69th Street. I think you can get the Q train here. Now, I'll show you something cool. I'll kind of take you on a behind the scenes look here. This building that you see, you could look it up on Street Easy. 301 East 69th Street. This is a co-op. This is the Mayfair. And obviously now we have the 2nd Avenue subway. And this goes down, I'm not sure if anybody's taken this yet, but this goes down way, way far underground. This is like crazy far. Now, we're gonna head down 69th Street. You guys are gonna see some amazing properties here. I mean, the townhomes that are lining this street are unbelievable. Beautiful, classic Upper East Side townhouses. Many of which with their own private driveways. Like, look at this one. These are single family homes. Just really, really beautiful. You can see they go all the way down. You have these nice tree-lined streets, but I will say this, everyone. If you remember our live streams of the Upper West Side, personally, I like the big brownstones on the Upper West Side better than these. Just my preference. But it is quite cool to be able to say you live in one of these. Many of these were at one point multi-family, and they'd been converted into single family. I'll give you an example. This one is still multi-family. You can kind of see how it goes up the stairs and there's multiple other apartments. Over the years, what's been becoming quite popular is very, very wealthy people in Manhattan will buy these old townhomes and convert them into multi-million-dollar, very opulent and luxury single-family homes. See, now that we're on the side street and we're kind of off the main drag, it is kind of nice. You know, it's not, I mean, it's still a little loud, but nothing in comparison to, you know, that hollering and banging around on 2nd Avenue. This one looks like it's for sale. Let's actually go check it out. Maybe we could pull up the listing. You can actually kind of see into the living room of this home. This is beautiful, beautiful. Maybe you guys could check it out and you could see the listing. Townhouse available for sale by appointment. Here, maybe I'll put the camera close so you could scan the QR code. And let me know what you guys think. This looks to be two separate, maybe this one they kept a little like efficiency on the ground floor. So maybe this is like a 2-family. It's really quite nice. I like the detail on the windows. Hey, good to see you.
Oh, I was trying to wait for the camera.
Lewis MJ, this is only $5 million. I think $5 million for that is priced a bit high. It really has to go from the width of the townhomes. Some townhouses are very narrow, some of them are very, very wide. Take one more look from the other side. But if you guys are enjoying this live stream of the Upper East Side tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. Darren says, do you think that property will sell for $5 million? It'll probably sell for a little less. The townhome market in New York City is not doing too well. And we have a few townhouses listed for sale, and one of the biggest objections that we've been getting from potential clients wanting to buy is the safety and the security objection. They would much rather in this environment purchase in a condo building with 24/7 doorman and security, with amenities, as opposed to living in a townhome when any random person can just walk up to your door with kind of the crime that's going on in New York. Again, this is the perception, this is what buyers are kind of saying, and you could look at the data. The townhomes are going through a little bit of a bear market, but I think that's opportunity. I think if you buy a townhome, you can negotiate hard, you can get a good deal, you can wait, 5-8 years, and I think you'll do really good once the city improves. And there's a lot of product on the market. Like, let's check this one out. We have a listing in Chelsea, which is a multi-family townhome. But we'll check this one out because this one looks really beautiful. It's for rent. You have your own private driveway. Probably have guest quarters too for like staff. 310 East 69th. Hey Cosmo says, hey Tom, do you sell anything by the High Line? Yeah, we have a really, really interesting listing. Now, has anyone seen the television show I think it was called America's Extreme Home Makeover. Has anyone heard about that show? Or Extreme Home Makeover, Home Edition, I think it was called. Now the main personality on that show was Ty Pennington. He's a really, really nice guy. We're selling his apartment right now on the High Line. He has a really, really nice place. Beautiful views of the High Line, and we're selling his apartment right now. That's one of those guys, and I remember my mom used to watch that show a lot, and he had this big personality, and in person he is such a nice guy, just a really, really good guy. So yeah, we're selling Ty's. If you want to buy his apartment, please give me a call. All right, friends, so I'm going to show you something a little bit interesting. This is a garage, and the sponsor, so we're representing the sponsor, the owner, selling individual parking spaces in the garage. Each space is a condo. We're selling each one for around $175,000, and we're about halfway sold now. So everyone gets a clicker to the garage. It's 24/7, 365 security. This is a private garage, and it even has a bathroom. So here's the pit stop. You have your own bathroom. And that wall, this used to go all the way back, but obviously with the eminent domain sale for the 2nd Avenue subway, now it's a lot smaller, so they've condominiumized it. So people in the neighborhood, particularly a lot of people who own these nice townhomes, instead of circling the block to park the car, they've been buying individual spaces, so individual deeded spaces. And it's like you have your own, suburban parking garage. Let me just close the gate. Let me just make sure it closes. All right, cool. So it's interesting, right? And again, to restate, it looks a lot smaller because they had to do a forced sale to New York City. All right, let's walk all the way down and we'll check out 1st Avenue. But it's unique. It kind of gives you a clue into some of the New York City living. Johnson says, can you finance those? No. Well, technically, yeah, but a bank's not going to lend on a parking space. So every single space that we've sold has been a cash deal. Every one of them. It's a cool concept. We're even now selling parking spaces in Brooklyn, all the way in Brighton Beach, because the valet business is very, very laborious now. It's very, very time consuming. So what a lot of garage operators are doing is they're doing rezoning, they're going to the city and condominiumizing each space. So when you purchase a space, you get a deed to it. It's like purchasing a house, but it's an individual deeded condo space. And that allows the operator to sell out and essentially make a pretty nice exit. Imagine if you have 150 spaces, you sell each one for $150,000 a pop. It's a pretty good deal on a 100% sellout. So whoa, look at this one. This townhome is wild. It has a total glass facade. Look at that. I've never seen that before. Let's get a closer look at that. Now, oftentimes you can't change the facade of some of these if they're protected, like historically protected, but I don't even know if I like that. What do you think? I'm really not a fan of that, to be honest. Not to insult some person's home, but it just doesn't, I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Like or dislike in the chat? It just doesn't seem, I feel like the allure of buying a townhome in New York City is to have that classic, beautiful, you know, brownstone feel, not just this wall of glass. I don't know. Maybe it's just preference. Brad's brain says dislike. Yeah. All right, let's start to head back down. Sabrina Ferris is no character. Jonathan Richards says I like the classic only. This is Patsy's Pizza. What do you guys think of the Upper East Side so far? This is only a very, very, very small portion. My favorite part of the Upper East Side is right along Central Park. So like the 5th Avenue area. Here's another shot at 432 Park Avenue. Fruit actually looks pretty good. Very seldom do I see a fruit stand that's good. This one looks very good. Everything looks fresh. The Wizard. Thanks for joining us. We're going to start to head back towards 432 Park Avenue now, but if you guys are enjoying the more chilled back or live stream late night, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. Oh wow, I didn't realize this was here. The International Hall of Science for Cancer Research. Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Now, is it true? I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine the other day. The #1 hospital for cancer care or treatment is in Houston, Texas, right? Houston, Texas apparently has the top research, the top doctors, the top treatment for all types of cancers. Now, unfortunately, a good friend of mine is going through a really, really tough situation with their young daughter, really, really young, was unfortunately diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And she's about a year younger than me. And they flew her to Houston to do the treatment. It's really, really sad, but that's what I've heard. The best hospitals for cancer treatment are in Texas, Houston specifically. Brad's brain says MD Anderson. Houston is nothing but medical centers and hospitals. It's very incredible. Yeah, it's Larry says Anderson is world renowned. That's what I've been hearing from a lot of my friends. So I'm sure in a city like New York, we also have amazing cancer doctors. Blonde Cookie says, as a nurse, I agree with some of that. But what would you say if you want to provide a little more context? Wow, Darren, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's really a shame because now I know like multiple people, unfortunately, who have pancreatic cancer. It's strange. But apparently, and I'm not an expert, I have no medical experience, but for what I've been researching is it's very, very difficult to detect pancreatic cancer unless it's in very, very late stage, because when it's in late stage, that's when the symptoms show up. Again, apparently, I'm not an expert, I'm not a doctor, just from what I've been reading. So when you start to show symptoms of pancreatic cancer, oftentimes it's very, very late stage. So it's really, really sucks. Yeah, Ras says, isn't New York Presbyterian one of the best as well? New York Pres was one of my biggest clients when I was in tech sales. We did a big project with them. I'm not sure, maybe we have some healthcare professionals or people who work in hospitals here. Anyone familiar with the medical software Epic? EPIC, the Epic software? So we did a large scale implementation for New York Presbyterian. We handled all of their devices. So if you know anyone who's at New York Pres, and all of the tablets, iPhones, computers are color coordinated with the New York Pres logos, locked down with an MDM. We sold that software. And we did all the labeling for the different departments and locked the phones down so they could only operate that particular software, which is Epic. It's almost midnight and this pizza place is still serving slices. All right, let's start to head in. We're on First Avenue, so maybe once we get to 59th Street, we'll head west. But yeah, it's sad, man. Cancer really sucks. It really sucks. Check out this diner. Unfortunately, all the original diners, not all, but a lot of them, have gone out of business just because it's too expensive to operate. Sonia C, what's going on? Good to see you. Dream machine. This inflation is crazy lately. Well, we're going to find out on Thursday and Friday as we get both CPI and PPI data. Here you can see some of the original diner booths. Ah, Dave, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I was reading some articles about that too, saying that there's this big trend of increasing cancer amongst young people. I don't know. I usually don't like to speak on this stuff because I don't have any credentials, but I could imagine it has to do with the food in the United States. There's a lot of processed food in the US. Maybe it's even has to do with stress and anxiety. I mean, stress, and again, I have no data on this, but I really do believe that stress is the number one thing that gets you. Because I've been super strung out and stressed in my life. Extremely strung out and stressed. And comparing it to now, when, thank God, I really don't have that much stress. I felt like death, and I really didn't realize it. And I think when you're so deep in the grind, and you're strung out, stressed, not sleeping, you don't realize how much like death you feel until you start to de-stress. So I totally think stress is the number one. Yeah, Professor Dario says, I think the new technology called CRISPR-9 will change the scenario. I think so too. So if I'm not mistaken, CRISPR is the new gene editing technology. Is that correct? And, you know, we've had these conversations before on the broadcast that I really do believe that we are coming up on a massive biotech renaissance in this country, where you're going to see major breakthroughs. Major breakthroughs, which is fantastic. Professor Dario says, Tom, you will be my TA as soon as possible. I'd do that. I'd sub in on a class that Dario is teaching. I'd do that. I'd be the TA. I think that'd be fun. This is the very top of Bloomberg. Yeah, Brad's brain says stress and inflammation cause major illness. Yeah, man. I think if you're blessed enough to go through a very stressful time in life, and then to kind of turn it around and make it a 180 where you don't really have much stress. I mean, everyone had stress, right? Stress with the job, you know. I'm talking about like heavy duty stress. You can really tell how much better you feel. It's like you feel like you're a different person. And not for nothing, not to do a shameless plug here, but just simply walk around, and I really do mean this, if you just get out and just walk around and do a few laps, like if you can, take your phone calls while you're walking around Central Park or doing something, you feel a lot better. You really, really do. So I'd say try to walk as much as possible if you can. Because if you're cranked up all day, you're not moving, you're sitting in all this traffic, honking your horn, getting all stressed out. It's not healthy. I wanted to see if we could see the tramway going by. Hey, Sergey, what's up? Troy Atman says 8 or 9 hours of sleep is a game changer. Totally. My God. I can't agree with that statement more. I really, really can't agree with that statement more. I used to literally go maybe 2-3 hours. I used to take periodic naps. I would never get proper sleep. And you can get away with it in your early 20s, but I'd say when it really changed, I think I was probably 26, 27. And if I don't get at least 8 hours of sleep, I don't feel well. I think I've exhausted all of my all-nighters throughout my life. So sleep is so freaking important. So important. And the quality of your work diminishes, right? Oftentimes people just work so many hours, and I get if you're in a job where you need to be on site hourly, I get it, but the only thing I could say is try to maximize the amount of work you get done during the time you're actually working. Optimize. Because if you're running on 2 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep, the quality of your work, I mean, if we're being honest, is probably piss poor. Now, I'm not going to speak for anybody else. I'll speak for myself. If I'm running on no sleep, I'm not helping anybody out. I'm not helping the team. I'm not helping clients. It's just the quality of my work with the clients. And Bezos said this in an interview as well. He's like, you want to make sure you're making very, very good decisions. Make a handful of very important, very good decisions a day. And make sure when you're making the most important decisions, you have rest. Because when was the last time you made a big decision and you were stressed out, you were exhausted? There's no way you're making the right decision. IPDS, as Trump said in an interview, sometimes he gets 5 hours of sleep. I mean, maybe some of these super functional people, but you know what I also, and this may sound a little bit controversial, but it's true. I'm just gonna say it flat out, it's true. If you're a Mark Zuckerberg, if you're a Jeff Bezos, if you're a multi-billionaire, and they say I could operate on 5 hours of sleep, yeah, they probably can. Look at how much traffic is here. This is crazy. But their sleep, their 5 hours of sleep is a lot different than my 5 hours of sleep. Does that make sense? Having 5 hours of proper rest at Mar-a-Lago when you have an entire fleet of staff waiting on you hand and foot, the environment where you rest is also very important. So Jeff Bezos with, all these multi-billionaires, they have their places where they rest are it's better rest. I really do believe that. I think it's obvious, right? If you're going back and resting and shucking it out in the back of a minivan, that 5 hours of sleep is not going to be as restful and as relaxing as, say, going to sleep on Billionaire's Row. So there's differences to that. There's definitely differences. So I think if you can make your bedroom, spend a lot of money on a proper mattress, that's why I used to work with this guy who wrote this book on business travel. Really smart guy. And he said there's a very high correlation with heart attacks and salespeople who travel across the country and all over the world. And even if they get the proper sleep, your body doesn't really get that REM sleep because you're staying in this hotel in New York, then you're staying in that hotel in Miami, this hotel in San Francisco, that hotel in Abu Dhabi. It's just your body can't get proper rest if it doesn't know the environment. It's very interesting. I gotta look this guy, because I'd like to give this guy a shout out. He's a very smart guy. He's one of the co-founders of this company called In-Hand Networks. They compete with the likes of Teltonica and Cradle Point. Not sure if anybody's familiar. Vivian says, I was always exhausted. Intravenous coffee. American Creed 1776. Oh, look at that rat. Said Elon Musk on Joe Rogan said he can only sleep for 5 hours. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously going to be statistical anomalies, right? I'm not Elon Musk. I don't know how Elon Musk does what he does. I honestly can't physically understand it. I don't understand how he does what he does. He's such a special guy. And I think whether you like the guy or you hate the guy, I think everyone can agree. It's just, how does he possibly do so much? People are born with God-given talents, right? People are born super geniuses, right? There's no amount of hard work that I could do or you could do to get to the level of Elon Musk, right? Some people are born so skewed to one side of the spectrum that no matter how much hard work you put in, it's just, you're not going to compete. These are 0.00001% of the population. So people like Elon Musk, people like Zuckerberg, right? These are anomalies. Jeff Bezos, total anomalies. I think you could even go out on a limb, right, and even say the same thing about former President Donald Trump and even current President Joe Biden. Because think about it like this. Joe Biden, yes, he's in cognitive decline. What they're doing to him is disgusting. I think he should, just go and live a normal life. But he's not the type of guy to do that. He's wired completely different. I won't speak for anybody else in the chat, but, when I'm pushing 90, I don't want to run for president. I want to be in Miami playing golf. I want to be hopefully on Fisher Island or on Billionaire's Row somewhere enjoying my 90s with my grandkids. I don't want to be doing debates and shit. You see, what are you, crazy? But some people are wired that way. Even if they have, early stage dementia, their physical being is wired to compete. It's like, I deal with some of these people, particularly I'd say real estate developers in New York. Since being in the business, dealing with some big name real estate developers, these people, and I think I work hard, right? I think I work hard. I think I'm pretty determined. I think I'm a pretty go-getter guy, these people would just totally mop the floor with me. Like, the amount of mental fortitude, the combativeness of these people is just freaking unbelievable. And you could say the same thing about Trump. They are not satisfied with any amount of money they make. It's about, I win, you lose. That's the end game. That's the ultimatum. And I think that's why these people rise to the top of their industries, is because they're wired like that. It's very, very... Hopefully I'm explaining that correctly. But some people are just wired like that. Some people are just wired like that. All right, we're finally back. Yeah, Manuel says it's just about winning. Dream Machines is totally agree. Yeah, and again, try to put your political biases aside. I know some people in the chat hate Trump, I get it. I know some people in the chat don't like Biden, I get it. But the overarching theme that I'm trying to kind of say is, no matter what you think of these people, like their personalities, their ethics, their cognitive ability, these people didn't get to where they are because they're pushovers, right? Some people are just born different to compete until literally they're 110 years old. And that's something I don't understand. But all right, well, we've come full circle, everybody. We're now back at 432 Park Avenue again. Yeah, Gene S is winning his dopamine hit for these people. Goats is how to unwire being too agreeable with people. Doing deals in New York City. Been struggling competitive with sharks in tech sales. I mean, I was in tech sales, I dealt with that. There's definitely some sharks. The only thing I could say is, at least the way it was for me when I was really, really young, I was oblivious in a good way. And I think the more oblivious you can be while you're young, take advantage of it. The more unrealistic you could be when you're young, take advantage of it. Because chances are you'll be able to put up with a lot more BS. The older you become, and I'm speaking for myself, the older you become, the more you see things and understand how deals work, you start to get wiser and smarter, and that could actually be a disadvantage because you're like, oh, I know what this means. This means I'm going to do an 8-month run around and deal with legal and deal with compliance, and oh my God, it's going to be a drag. But when you haven't done stuff before and you think you're just like, oh, I'm just going to go and take over the world and dominate, it gives you that power to push through all the nonsense, to deal with it, if that makes sense. And try to keep that attitude as long as you can, because the more you are an absolute realist, the less likely you are to push through this stuff, because you're like, oh, I know what's going to happen. The deal's going to get signed, but there's going to be a wrench in the deal. This is going to happen. This guy's not going to want to do it, and you got to just push through all that stuff. It's hard to explain. I think probably some people understand what I'm talking about. But try to have that grit for as long as possible. Because that's what it takes to get deals done. It takes sickening mental fortitude to keep pushing the ball down the field, keep moving forward. Because there's never going to be an easy deal. There's going to be blow-ups. A lawyer from one side is going to try to kill the deal. If you're talking about tech sales, maybe the CTO of the company is best friends with, a vice president at Oracle. Right? And your solution is way better than Oracle's solution, but he's just going to want to go with the guy at Oracle because they're best friends. They went to college together. So how are you going to overcome that? Right? So it's just about droning away, hammering on the project forever, and kind of almost having a numbness to it, just to be able to drive and push forever. This coffee shop's fantastic. Black Fox Coffee. They did a really good job with this outdoors atrium too. Hey, what's up, Mohammed? Now, you know what's an interesting thing that I've noticed throughout the years being in sales? Sales could be a real grind, but it's also very fun. You have to be wired for it. Because it's all dopamine blast, right? Deals are gonna blow up. And one thing I notice is the deals that I think are the biggest locks, they're like, oh, this is a total lock, this deal's gonna close. They never close. But it's the deals where it's such hell, agonizing hell, they always close, always. So if you're working on a deal and everything that could possibly be going wrong is going wrong, take that as a good sign, because the biggest deals I've closed, the most whopper deals that I've ever closed in my career, have been the most painstaking, just like mind-numbing. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just me. I've very, very rarely had layups. Very rarely. When I've had layups, it was from an existing customer that was a massive account where I had a big run rate, where I fought like hell to get the deal. The sales cycle was 24 months. But then once the deal closed, it was just a wave of them ordering and ordering and ordering and ordering and ordering from me every single month for like 2 years. So you were making commission checks, you know, 15,000, 20,000, 30,000, 35,000, 40,000, like clockwork every month from these few accounts that were whoppers that had a huge run rate. But it took 24 months to close, and it was pretty hellish trying to close the deal. I don't know, anyone else in sales notice that? Or maybe that's just an anomaly for me. But the harder the deal and the more unlikely it was to close, it closed. It was like it was the weirdest thing. I don't know. Here's the University Club. It's one of my favorite buildings in the city. My favorite thing about it is all these moldings on the side. It's the attention to detail. It's beautiful. It's similar to the Peninsula, but I'd say the inside of the University Club is a little bit better. Now, an interesting building. I'll show you guys right now. We're gonna have to cross the street though. But you know what? Let's see if I could do a quick, they usually don't like filming. They're very, very not too friendly, but we're walking past this Coach store. But this little overhang, this is the brand new Mandarin Oriental Residences. This has really cool architecture as well. .685 Fifth Avenue, the Mandarin Oriental Residences. Very, very nice. I'm gonna have to cross the street to show you the main facade, but this is a beautiful building. I've been inside here once. We previewed this as a team. It is so nice. And when they were building it, I'm glad they kind of kept the architecture on the side in tune with some of the surrounding buildings, like the Peninsula, the St. Regis, the University Club. So we'll go ahead and cross Fifth Avenue westbound, and you can see what I'm talking about. It's really quite nice. Sometimes developers come in and they build just a building that throws off the neighborhood. It just really, really does. It just throws the neighborhood out of whack. And I think an iconic street like Fifth Avenue is so important to kind of keep things in check. All right, so I'll turn around. You can see what I mean. This is the brand new Mandarin Oriental Residences on Fifth Avenue. It's elegant, it's kind of like blends in with the neighborhood, but this is a very nice building. The rooftops are beautiful. You have really, really good views. Now, I took a video around Brickell Key in Miami on the new Mandarin Oriental construction site. Check it out. It's going to be beautiful, beautiful over there. Thomas says, "Dear Tom." Oops, lost your comment. We're just gonna read your comment. It's not there anymore. I don't know. I think the comment was something like, how do you like dealing with Bidenomics or liberals in New York City? If you're in business, you got to get along with everyone, and I think it's okay to have differing political opinions. I really don't mind it. Some people do. Some people like have this raging thirst to try to, persuade people to think like them or believe like them one way or the other. I don't know. Maybe it's just the nature of my personality being in sales. I really don't mind. I honestly don't mind. I disagree with many people on politics. I'm a conservative living in New York City. But I've never had it become an issue, ever, really ever, and I mean that. I've done really well in New York City. Most people that I deal with on a daily basis are on a way, way different political spectrum than me, but we get along great. I just don't, if we have a disagreement about politics, doesn't mean we can't be friends or can't do business. And I think more people should be like that, because it's not the end of the world. If you differ on political policy, don't give yourself a heart palpitation. I think life is gonna go on, and it'll be fine. Oh, look at this. Let me try to zoom in here. This is what is it called? The back of a church? A sacristy, is that what it's called? I don't know if that's the appropriate term, but look at some of the paintings at the back of St. Church. Sorry about that. Is that what it's called? A sacristy? I believe that's what it's called. The very, very back of a church where the priest lives. Maybe I'm getting that confused. Anyway. But I'd say that if you want to be in business and successful, you kind of have to adopt that mentality. You can't isolate people. because then you're isolating half your client base. So you got to learn to deal, you got to learn to talk with people, you got to learn to get along, you got to learn to be a deal maker at the end of the day. That's what it is, right? Especially in politics. I think that's why our politicians have failed to get things done, is because you don't really have any deal makers in office. If you pay close attention to a lot of the political banter on both sides, it's aggravating, taunting, and demonizing. Ask yourself this: would you want to buy something or do a deal with someone who's insulting you all day? Seriously, would you ever want to do a deal with somebody who's insulting, degrading, mean? Probably not. So you got to learn how to deal, right? Even if you disagree politically. I think, I think one of the best sales tactics that I was taught is like a give, take. So if you're going into a situation where you know there's going to be animosity, you really got to do deep research and be able to compliment and pick like 3 or 4 things that person on the other side of the aisle has done, where you could say, you know what, I really liked how you did this. I thought it was so impressive how you put this together, that together, and it really made me think differently. And here's what I learned from that experience. And then you present what you're trying to persuade the other person. Because when you get a compliment, it feels good, right? When someone says, wow, what you did was awesome. Or if you want to take it in terms of a real life example, if you're making a YouTube video and somebody says, I love your videos, it was fantastic, you get a little bit of a dopamine blast and you feel good. But if somebody is saying, you suck, this sucks, you're an idiot, what are you gonna feel towards that person? Right? And just make that mental audit. So if you wanna get really good at persuasion, you have to be good at knocking down someone's guard, being genuine when you're doing it, right? Because I do believe if you audit someone's life, no matter who the person is, unless they're like a serial murderer, you can name some things that they've done good or some things that they're talented on, and you could, give them a little bit of a boost. And it'll have them be more susceptible to compromising with you. But you're not going to persuade anybody to vote one way or the other just by saying, all MAGA is terrible, they're deplorables, totally you lost the case, right? And vice versa, right? All right, we got to put a little bit more pep in our step because we got to get back down to 34th Street. I know, Professor, I just saw that. They had Messi jerseys on. I think Argentina is playing Canada tomorrow in I was about to say the Confederations Cup. No, Copa America. What a historic match that's going to be. Canada, Argentina, Copa America. I can't believe Canada made it this far. Canada made it farther than the US. Good for Team Canada. No way. Shannon says Drake put 300,000 on Canada to win. Look, I want Argentina to win mainly because I'm a Messi fan, but I think it would be pretty cool if Canada beat Argentina. So I don't know, I'm definitely gonna watch the game. on the 4th of July, I was in Miami. I just so happened to be in Little Buenos Aires, and I had to film a video because it was so cool. I may upload it tomorrow. We'll see. Here's some more Argentina fans here. So you had the 4th of July fireworks blown off all throughout Little Buenos Aires. But at the same time, Argentina was in a penalty shootout. Who was the team that they were against? I forget. But anyway, it was just the coolest thing because when Argentina won, there was fireworks going off in Little Buenos Aires. And it was just a cool experience. And I got it on film, so you guys will see. Ripping up the road. Look at that. This is the line for Adele's. Let me zoom in on this so I can show you guys. This is by far the best halal food in the city, without even a question. And look at the line. It goes from the corner of 49th Street all the way down to 48th Street. Look at that. Crazy. Adele's Famous. I gotta get some water. It's so humid. I think I've been sweating more than usual. And here is News Corporation, or Fox News. This is the main Fox News studio. TK Porsche says, Tom, is there a fine dining halal restaurant that you could recommend? I don't know if there is. I mean, there probably is, but just not one that I've been to. But I really do like halal food. That's really the only one that I go to. Now, I think there were a few Turkish places that were technically halal that I've been to in Queens. I want to say this was Sunnyside, Queens. any of these Sirhan agents? Yeah, all the time. So the developer who I work for, which just so happens to be married to my boss, Stefano Forsura, the building they developed, 75 First Avenue, they hired Sirhan to run sales on that. And a lot of the higher ticket priced deals, my boss does a lot of very, very high end deals. She's collaborated with Ryan on a few of them, but Ryan's really out of the business. He's more of like the operator, CEO. Very seldom will he be actively involved in a live deal. He'll be actively involved in the big deals. I don't understand the UK rap. Maybe just from an American, it just sounds a little awkward to me. Now tomorrow night when we start the stream on time, we're going to spend a few hours, not a few hours, we'll probably spend the first hour talking about global fund flows and the importance of really paying attention. I think now is a critical time to be paying very attention, very close attention to global fund flows or follow the money. Unfortunately, I am very concerned, grave concern for the UK. Very concerned. I think you're going to see continuation of investment and just dollars in general leaving the UK. If I had to make a list of regions that I'm very bullish on and regions that I'm bearish on, I'd say US, Super Bowl, Latin America, LATAM in general, very bullish Latin America. Very bearish, unfortunately, the UK. Unfortunately. Bullish Singapore, bullish South Korea. But there's going to be some spots where you're going to see very glaring capital flight. Now, we talked about this briefly, very briefly, in our newsletter that we sent out on Friday, talking a little bit about fund flows. So if you want to check that out, we do send out our free investing newsletter every other Thursday, right as the market closes. I think with the big political shakeups going on globally, even though you may not be a big political person, I think you got to pay attention just a little bit to see what's going on in the UK, to see what's going on in Argentina, and kind of comparing and contrast the two. I really do believe Argentina is going to spark a major push towards free market capitalism in the region, which is going to benefit the United States, Mexico, and Canada in a major way. We'll have to do a deep dive on this. But yeah, I think the United States has almost probably never been in a better position ever than it is right now. Regardless of what you see in the media and all the craziness that's going on in the political environment in the US, We are very, very strategically positioned to really, I mean, if you think we're doing good now, I mean, my God, just wait till what the next decade has to bring. And I think the United States is doing exceptionally well right now. It's quite obvious. All right, let me get the QR code off the screen. I think I was speeding in the bus lane. RCE goat. This PE market slowed down. Private equity markets are coming back with a boom. Big, big boom. Leveraged buyout deals are on the rise. I think we wrote about that a few newsletters ago, almost about a year ago, that the resurgence of private equity, mergers and acquisitions, that's all coming back, and it has come back. There's been deals that have been getting done. Just take a look at Blackstone, Carlyle, Thoma Bravo. A lot of the private equity giants are having great years, really, really good years, because deal flow is coming back slowly but surely. Same thing with the just M&A market and IPO market in general. If you look at earnings, and we also wrote about this, if you look at financial earnings, which we're going to see towards the tail end of this week again, V-shaped recovery in earnings at Goldman Sachs, a lot of the big bulge bracket investment banks, and particularly the boutiques like Jefferies, Evercore, Houlihan Lokey, big V-shaped recoveries in earnings. 2022 and 2023 were really difficult years. Chances are, if you worked in investment banking, it was pretty slow, not a lot of deal flow, but now it's pretty active now, which is good, which is very, very good. Now, I think this Bryant Deli is the same owner as Merci Market. And they have a few locations, one of which is just right off of Central Park South. Almost to 34th Street, Herald Square. Guys, look at how cool the Empire State Building looks tonight. It's incredible. I wonder why it's lit up in all red tonight. I agree. Someone says no matter who wins in November, the US will still be king because of the US dollar. And I think there's a few other reasons too. Which we don't have time to get into tonight, but in general, in jest, think about the alternative. Think about where you would rather invest alternatively. And this goes back to the article that I wrote about the core founding principles of America and free market capitalism, particularly with individual freedoms and individual property rights. That's really what's been driving much of the capital creation in America, is individual freedom, ownership, not fear of government interventionist policies. And by and large, that's why you see a lot of the top talent, not only just capital creation, but intellectual capital, coming here. I also think from a geographical perspective, you really can't beat the United States of America. You know, from sea to shining sea. There's just such a broad, wide-ranging, diverse places to live that are amazing. If you like living in big cities, well, the United States has no shortage of amazing big cities to live in. New York, San Francisco, Boston, LA. There's no shortage of big metropolitan areas for you to choose from. If you like living out in the sticks and in the boondocks, well, we have absolutely no shortage of that. Take your pick. And just the diversity in climate. You could be in moderate climate, you could be in tropical climate. The United States has it all. And I think that's very, very understated from an economic perspective. You know, you wouldn't think about it, but I think that's one of the main disadvantages that Canada has compared to the United States. You know, in Canada, when it's winter, tough, it's winter, right? You need to leave the country in order to be in the tropics. In the United States, when it's 10 degrees in New York City or 10 degrees in Chicago and you're miserable, it's dark and it's gray and it's nasty, no worries, just pop a flight to Southern California or pop a flight to South Florida and you're in the tropics. Or go to Hawaii or go to Guam, right? US territory. That, I think a lot of people underestimate just how great that is, right? You could stay in America 24/7, 365 and be in every single type of climate you want. You want great skiing, you want great snowboarding, go ahead. If you want the tropics, go to the Florida Keys. All right, everyone. Well, I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. I think this was a really fun live stream, even though it was very late. But if you enjoyed the stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video. Click the subscribe button if you're new, and consider joining us tomorrow at 8:45. I appreciate all of you. I wish you the best on this upcoming Tuesday. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Once again, just a real quick reminder, check your email. We sent the newsletter on Friday. If you want to sign up to receive all of our equity research for free, scan the QR code, punch in your email, and it'll take you to our Substack. So MBA Elias, Professor Mark Summers, Western Mass Dave, Sally, DM, signing off from New York City. See you guys tomorrow.